Welcome to another episode of Graphic Content, the podcast where we talk all things who, why, and what the fuck. Now, my guest today is a special human being, someone that I connected with almost to the day a year ago.
That's wild.
Yeah. He is an executive leadership and life coach. He's a yoga and fitness instructor, a somatic breathwork facilitator. Is that the term you would use?
Sure, practitioner, facilitator.
You are also the founder of Renergy Coaching,
Hmm.
and most importantly of all, my Gemini sister.
Yes! We don't know what you're
Thomas
going to get today.
Thomas Renner. Yay.
Yes! Woo!
I know Thomas has a lot to offer. We could
Mm.
shoot the shit forever, and so I thank you. Thank you for joining.
Oh, I'm so excited. I loved your intro, which I'd never heard before, where you talk about or what the fuck. Like I was like, "Oh, thank God. I can cuss."
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the name is graphic content. Like,
Well, but I also know that's your company and you do graphics. So I was like, is this like a tech podcast or is it like a graphic isn't like
for me, it was the name itself is because obviously like GeoGraphic is my company, but I also wanted it to be kind of like I think about like the graphic world. Like for me and for my world, not graphic art, is basically like any type of content that falls under the umbrella of what I do or what I'm about. And so for me, it leaves it like open. So, and I also love the double entendre. Like to
who
me, I was like,
doesn't?
I had to, yeah.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, that's another side of me.
I like when things have lots of meanings because then it's like, who knows what you're going to believe it to mean? And it
Exactly.
could change from day to day.
100%, yes. But yeah, I like I said, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you taking the time. One of the things that I wanted to touch base on, like right off the bat, is how we met. I just want to talk about that because I love it. I think it's so funny. Originally, so I met Thomas on a cruise a year ago.
Not cruising, but no, we did. We met on a cruise and can we, I mean, you're okay with like name dropping things? Is that,
Yeah,
yeah. So we were on a celebrity cruise and I can't remember if this was like my third or my fourth one. Which one was this for you?
that
You
was my
go.
first.
That was your first celebrity cruise?
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. So you're on your first celebrity cruise, which is funny because we were at this happy hour because at the end of every day, they do an LGBTQ plus happy hour at the
The Sunset
Sunset
Bar.
Bar, the
Yeah.
Sunset Bar. And what I was new to me because this was a new ship was the opening and the closing of the bathroom doors is all automated. It's like a sliding door.
I think that's like a post COVID thing, so people don't touch doors. I don't know.
It sounds like a great plan. Like whatever, but now you can get a peek in the bathroom if you're curious. But yeah, the sliding door opened, then led to our 7-day romance.
Yes, it was honestly, I had so much fun. Like going into it, I think I told you I was very apprehensive about being trapped on a boat. Like it wasn't something that I normally would go for. And so I was like, but you know what? I'm going to go into it with an open mind. And we had such a great time. Like I think that the group that we had with like Spencer and
Oh my
obviously
gosh,
Dave
Spencer.
and Luke, I'm actually seeing Spencer next week.
Shut up.
He's from Michigan, and so
That's right.
he grew up just outside of Detroit, and so I've actually seen him like 3 or 4 times in the last year.
Oh, we love that.
Yeah, it's been nice. So and it was just such a good time. I still talk to like here and there online with to the boys from the UK, and
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
nice.
the older daddies.
Yes.
Who else did I meet on that cruise that I could still connect with? Everyone was so kind.
It really was. It was such a good experience. I think that so many people were just down for open. Everyone was just open. Like I don't know
Yeah,
how to explain it. It was just like general level of kindness that I wasn't necessarily expecting. And it made the trip. I really do. And so and meeting the two of you was so nice. It was just nice to connect, and we've been in touch ever since. Like
ever
it's
since.
been so great. Like Stuart, we snap every day, but with you and it's so
Y'all
nice.
millennials can't. I can't do another Snapchat. I can't do it.
Millennials are you're a millennial.
I'm an elder. Speak to your elders.
You're a year older than me, right?
I'll be 39 this year.
Okay, yeah, you're 2 years older than me. I'm gonna be 37. Like that's elder millennial.
I had Snapchat one time, Gio, and I was like, why is this so difficult to understand and learn? Like when you press certain buttons, it takes you to different screens, and then I was like, things are disappearing, and I was like, I can't with this.
It's annoying. Okay, so I'll say this. I had Snapchat when it like came out however long ago in my early 20s, and then I got rid of it cuz I'm like I'm too old for this. This is stupid. And then my siblings were they always snapped each other, I guess. And they're like you have to be part of it like we because then my brother lives in Florida, so we, being more connected to one another in that way where we can send pictures to each other. And I was like I'm not doing that. That's dumb. And then I caved and I got it, and I do enjoy the like even if it's like hey this is what I'm up to, but I do agree it's just another thing that is like a time waster.
But like Instagram does the exact same thing.
I know.
I'm not defending that people shouldn't be using it. I was like, I'm defending more like I can't do that because Stuart does Snapchat all the time.
Streamlining.
Honestly, facts. Please.
Yeah.
My word, if we're like, this is the perfect transition. My word for this year in
Hmm.
business, in life, in relationships, in travel, and all of it is simplicity.
Yeah,
We live in an overcomplicated world, and I cannot let it continue to
bro.
compound for me. And I just want things to be simple.
Hmm.
Like, if I can use one app versus 10, let's do it because it works best for me.
Yeah. On that note, how are you doing that? Because like to say like I want this year to be simple, but like what are you doing to make your life simpler?
Like I've streamlined different things in my business too. Like I'm not doing my podcast anymore.
Hmm.
When I do social media content, I used to have it very like sporadic and like just could do it as much as I possibly can. And now it's like, hey, if I get to it, great. If I don't, that's okay because I'm
Yeah,
using different modes for attracting business and really building relationships. I'm doing much more like direct asks, which for me is simple because it's
it
just
works.
very direct. I want to do more community events, so like having that be a focus of like, great, everything is complimentary, it's free, it's community. I want people to just be with each other. In relationships, like making it really simple. Hey, we have a date night once every other week.
Hmm.
There it is. So I'm never wondering when the next thing's going to happen. Even with meal prepping, it's like it makes my weekly, like day to day, so much easier. It's like I've got my
Oh my god, yeah.
chicken, I've got my turkey. It's just like done. Because I want my social life to be a little bit more not sporadic, spontaneous and
Hmm.
exciting. It allows me the freedom to do that because everything else is so streamlined and simple. Like
Hmm.
I was just trying to do 10 million different things at one time, and I felt like I was like a Gumby pulling in different directions at all
Hmm.
times, but never really giving anything a focus. And now with everything streamlined or with everything just having its own place, even like when you think about doing laundry, like I do the laundry all at once, like get it done. Do the dishes, making it really simple, not overcomplicating even my thought process. Like if you really wanted to take it internally, it's like, okay, it's not going to take me 30 minutes to do the dishes. Do them right now. It takes 5 minutes.
Just get it out of
Done.
the way.
Just get it out of the way. Like stop making my mental capacity all so complicated. And it just makes life much more fun.
Can I ask a question? Do you
Yeah.
have other tabs open on your computer?
Not on um not on Chrome, but on my oh, hold on.
Is there any way you can just shut off some of them because your video is like going super blurry, and I just want to make sure that you're.
And then I'm going to quit my messages just because it's always open. Is that better?
Yeah, yeah. Send everything or shut everything off except for this tab,
Oh my god,
if you
stop
can.
yelling at me. Shut everything down immediately.
Well, no, because I
Oh
want the video to look good, so then that way at least your beautiful face is
my
crisp and
gosh.
clean.
You sound like Elon Musk. Shut everything down.
Yeah.
Get rid of it all. I was like, pretty soon you're gonna be our 51st date. So
Oh God, that is
even the
so
White House
depressing.
press secretary, she even said it the other day.
I don't want to think about it. It's gonna be so like weird, and I don't know. I don't even know what to think about it all.
Because
It's
don't y'all
just
have your
such
own
a
currency? This is a really silly question.
yeah.
Yeah. What can you imagine if that was just gone?
I don't know. I see it in the news, and I'm like, okay, if
It's
it
been
moves
less than
forward,
100 days. We don't actually know whatever is going to happen. Like we have zero
yeah.
idea. There's a lot of buzzwords flying, and that's what this administration does: is throws out buzzwords for everyone to go like ape, and you can't. You just can't listen to it every day.
No, no, but I try not to because to me, I'm like, what I can control is within the microcosm of my world. I
Totally.
can control. the energy that I put out into the world. I can control how I do my business. I can control the way that I operate my life. And so for me, that is something that I would rather focus on
Yeah.
doing that because it keeps
Mm-hmm.
me sane. And it's like, okay, I need to make money to pay for my bills. Yes, I can't control, the economy, etc. But I want to feel like I'm taking the reins of my own, for lack of a better word,
Your own life.
destiny or
Yeah.
direction. And so for me, that keeps the ball rolling in my mind of like, okay, I feel like I'm moving versus OMG, I'm frozen in fear and panic due to the news, right?
Do y'all have the same level of inflation because of your economy, though?
Girl, it's crazy. Like
Oh, okay.
even we see like all these news stories about from the States being like, oh, like our eggs are so expensive. I'm like, ours are like double, triple that.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, it's
I,
it's
s-
wild.
I saw this post the other day that made me cackle. You know, whenever there's a natural disaster here in the US or whatever,
Hmm.
there's like COVID or like an ice storm in Dallas, for instance, what's the first thing that goes off the shelves?
Eggs, toilet paper.
Toilet paper.
Hmm.
And now everyone's talking about how eggs, the prices are like insane. Like even at
Hmm.
Sam's, when I go to Sam's usually once a week, some weekends there are no eggs. Like there's
That's
just none,
yeah.
which is wild. When we were kids, Gio, we would toilet paper people's homes or egg people's houses. Like this just ironic
I
thing that
know.
is now just a fear is like buy all the toilet paper. Like how much toilet paper are you going to use in 3 days with an ice storm? Like are
Get a
you going to
bidet.
yourself for like all day? Like what is happening?
Get a
Uh,
bidet.
is that normal for for Canadians? Does everybody have one?
No, 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 no.
Oh,
I like to
that's what I
me
thought.
once
Yeah.
once I was exposed to it, I'm like, this is the new way of life.
But so we have two. We have one that's like a hooked up one to the toilet that it's like a hose that you have to.
I hate that one.
I don't like it either, but
It's too messy.
it's too messy and you don't know where it's gonna like shoot. Other one that we have is in the other restroom, but like you barely turn the knob and it is like a gusher right there.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh my god! Like I feel like I should be getting paid for this.
This is my OF content.
Yeah. So I'm like, there has to be some happy medium here. But I went to the toilets in Japan though too. They have like the heated seats. I'm like, oh, that just sounds glorious.
I'll say this. I went and stayed with a friend recently, and her house was like jacked up. Like, Pimp My Ride,
Yeah.
but like it was Pimp My House. Like this, everything,
Wow.
the floors in the bathroom were heated. The toilet was which is all of it's nice, but it was like a little too techy to the point where
Mm,
I'm like, if the power went out and
you're
you
screwed.
don't have you're screwed. You can't even open the blinds. Like everything was operated through
Oh.
technology. Like the stove had Wi-Fi. I'm like, this is insane.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I went to Miami and the Airbnb host had Wi-Fi in her stove and the microwave.
So okay, how was that trip? Because I know we texted while you were there, but how
It
how was
was
it?
so good. It was so good. Yeah, I mean, in alignment with the opening of our conversation around my business, like the yoga part of it, I went there for like a miniature continuing education.
Hmm.
This amazing yogi, his name's Jonah Kest. He puts on trainings and also like yoga teacher trainings all over the world. And I had just randomly saw him post about it last year. I think this was one of the first like shorter versions of what he's doing that he offers because he also
Hmm.
offers like 2 week, like 300-hour trainings in Thailand and across the world. And I was like, I need to the continuing education is really important to me this year
Yeah,
specifically. Uh, so I was like, I'm gonna go. So I just bought it and went to Miami for 4 days essentially. Happened
I
to get
love
an
it.
amazing Airbnb host who she was from France. She bought her place. She's a real estate agent. I had my own room. We shared a bathroom, and like you never know sometimes when you're gonna get an Airbnb that way. And this
Yep.
was like the perfect scenario. She was like, please come and go as you want. Use any of this. She's like, here's some food. Here's some water. I was like, this is a 5-star hotel, and I could like she like did not care, and she had a pretty irregular schedule, so it was nice that I could like I wasn't really worried.
Hmm.
Happened to be a block away from Equinox, so it was super easy because obviously I teach there, so I could go
Hmm.
work out. And it was like 3 blocks away from the yoga studio that I was taking the practice from, and we did yoga for like 4 hours almost each day. in the morning and the evening. And then I just kind of like shot the shit at home or
Vibed.
went to, yeah, vibe. Like I had a burger at this place. I forgot what it was called. It was super good. I did end up going to the Palace, which, are you familiar with the Palace?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've been there multiple times because every time we cruise, we typically either cruise out of Miami or Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. Yeah.
And so if we go to Miami, we always go to the Palace just because it's fun. Well, lo and
Hmm.
behold, I went there, made a huge mistake. I walked like all the way in, which is fine. So I sat at the bar. Well, the drag show started almost
On the
immediately.
bar.
No, well, no, it just
Oh.
started. It like started immediately, and there's like no exit. Like when the show starts and the queens are going, like there's no exit except for the front. And I was like, how am I gonna leave? Like I didn't want to stay there forever. Like I wanted to get some sleep. So I had one drink and my wallet was gouged. It was $26 for one drink. I was like, you've
That's
got to be
so
kidding me.
crazy.
And it was a Jack and Coke. It wasn't like a fancy drink.
Hmm.
And but the queen was some girl from RuPaul's Drag Race that like won some season. And I
Amazing.
don't actually know any of them. The last season that I watched was Bianca's.
The golden era, I will say.
I feel like that was the last era of seasons where I felt like they like really made their dresses. Like it felt a little bit more organic versus production, like produced.
But that's the thing, like, and as when something's been around for so long, it becomes it's a production, and
Yeah.
so it's less. I feel like less human in that way. And so it's understandable. I think people now, they when you go on anything on TV, right, like there's an expectation of, okay, I know I'm being, and we live in the world of, like, hello, we're recording ourselves right now, like
Yeah.
everybody is constantly on camera, and so we're hyper aware of it, which also affects the outcome because people are less human. They're more like, I'm gonna play a character. Like, even me going into this, I'm like, I want to be natural. I want to be myself.
Yeah.
But, the first couple, I'm like, I am robotic. Like, I'm trying, you know what I mean? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm overthinking. Like, I'm going to be putting this on the internet. I'm actually allowing scrutiny. I'm putting myself out there to be scrutinized, which, that's not my goal, but it's going to happen.
Oh,
I'm sure, I'm
100%.
sure someone will have something to say about something.
Speaking of scrutinizing and reality, so I'm awful. I watch Selling Sunset. I'm not a Housewives kind of girly. I never have been.
Watch what you want.
Do you watch Selling Sunset?
No, I don't.
Okay, so when you have watched for as long as I have, and you finish the final season, typically what Netflix now does is it puts you straight to the first season of the first episode of the first season,
Hmm.
and to watch what they looked like when
Oh,
they first started
you
till
mean,
now.
this? The
Well,
face
that, but
work?
also just the clothing, the makeup. It's like you just forget that there's this evolution of the produced version of the
Yeah.
show,
Oh, yeah.
regardless of the acting. Uh,
It's real. I
it's
don't know what you're
just like
talking about.
even the clothing. I'm like, first of all, no one wears these clothes in public. Nobody wears them.
I'm telling you right now, the looking back at even things from 10 years ago, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that we dressed like that.
Yeah.
And now it's like the fashions of a decade ago, right? And I'm
I
not, and
mean, Kendrick
I'm not a
Lamar
fan.
wearing bell bottoms or flare jeans. Everyone's like, oh, I wore those in the 90s. Like, yeah, we all did.
Yeah, and then they were worn in the 60s and 70s originally. It's
Exactly.
everything is cyclical, right? So was it like a 4-day workshop when you were in Miami?
Yeah, it was. It was called the Art of Vinyasa. So essentially, he has a style of yoga that he teaches, and he was sort of educating us on that and
Hmm.
how he creates sequences. And then we did a little bit of uh, excuse me, uh, an inversion workshop towards the last day, and then we said goodbye. It was awesome.
How did you get into yoga to begin with?
Well, I'm a former dancer, Gio. I don't know if you know that.
I do know this.
Um,
These are
and
prompts.
and I've always loved to move. And when I got
Mhm,
into fitness, I sort of didn't move anymore because I had taken a break from doing shows and doing theater.
mhm,
Um, and I found my way back really into the movement through yoga.
mhm,
And I knew that I would be a good yoga instructor based on how I taught fitness. And I had several people that believed in me as well. So they shared, like, maybe you should teach yoga as well. So one of the women that I was taking class from a lot, she's like, take this yoga teacher training. And so I did. And
mhm.
here we are. That was 7 years ago.
And so do you find that your yoga practice and with your coaching practice now, like that, did those kind of coincide at the same time? Were they different stages in your career?
Yeah, yoga came first. But if you think about fitness and yoga, and even when I was teaching dance, it's all
Hmm.
coaching.
Hmm.
It's just under a different name. And when you blend it, all those modalities into coaching, and then you use the tools that you learn in a coaching program, you actually get to elevate everyone's performance, everyone's mentality, everyone's work ethic, everyone's productivity, the sense of well-being, their confidence. Like it just really opens up the spectrum of what's possible for a human when you coach them. So it's kind of like I was building a bunch of tools of coaching before I actually took the coaching program, and that was
Yeah.
in 2020. Um, I honestly think that every coach should do some sort of physical training when it comes to uh, teaching and educating, because
Hmm.
it gives you a style, it gives you a vernacular, and it also gives you a connection to your physical body
Hmm.
that is really powerful in how to coach people from here. Because if you just coach the head, you can only go so far.
Yeah. So my first interview I did was with my sister, and she's an
Mm.
osteopath.
Ah.
And we had a conversation about that too, where you know, bringing the noise of being up here down into the body and actually connecting with your physical self is
Hmm.
very transformative. And obviously, this, I'm not saying anything new, but I feel like with what you're saying, where people who teach, who are coaches, there's a general sense of, let me teach you how to be, but it's like, what is your practice of being, right? And so sorry, I'm laughing at myself because that sounded very like, were you silent or were you silenced?
Well, consider that there actually is a study of being. It's called ontology. So that's the style of coaching I was trained in, is this ontological coaching, which is the study of being. Like I say this all the time, and it sounds so transformational if you hear it for the first time, but when you hear it for a second and third, you're like, how did I never get this?
Hmm.
We're not called human doings. We're called human beings. But we're so wrapped up in what can we do, how much can we accomplish, how
Hmm.
much money can we make. But this is a different currency, the currency of being.
Yeah.
This currency I'll remember for a long time. I told this to my mom actually recently. Was it my mom or my dad? Either one of the parents, who knows? Um, they always ask me what I want for Christmas. And I'm like, I just don't care. Like, I would
Yeah.
rather just go hang out with you.
Yeah.
I always tell them there was one Christmas where we all went to Vegas. It was my dad, my stepmom, my stepbrother, his wife, my niece, me. I was single at the time. Um, I remember that trip, and I couldn't tell you any of the gifts they gave me in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
I got to be with them. Like that is more memorable to me than anything that they could give me. So to just wrap up that human being conversation is like, yeah, it's like who we are actually matters way more than what we do.
I have a hard time with that. Like, I think part of me is, of my identity has become enmeshed with my business and like my work, that the work that I do. And that has been something that at the beginning was very good because it was a way for me to focus my energy towards creating this new path for myself. But almost a decade later, I'm like, this is starting to get blurry, like the lines are blurred. And so
Well, think of it this way, and this is not me coaching you because
no, no.
that's not my intention. And I had to do this too because that's actually why I got into coaching. Was I actually had no idea who I was when I lost my
Hmm.
job. Like we could totally have the 45-minute conversation of why I became a coach, but think of the attributes of the person that would do graphic design, right? You're
Hmm.
creative, you're outgoing, you're fun, you're spontaneous, you have a great energy about you. Like those are the things that make up the identity part, not that I'm a graphic designer.
I know.
Right? Like I teach yoga, that could mean I'm a yogi, right?
Hmm.
But like I enjoy movement, I enjoy community, I like to create shapes with my body. Those are all the attributes of that. Not I'm a yoga instructor, therefore I have to act like a yoga instructor.
Yeah.
Because I got trapped in that with coaching too. I felt like I had to be this transformed individual at all times. Like I couldn't cry, I couldn't get upset. I had to be like totally like even
Zen.
keel. And everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you're so zen, you're so quiet." I'm like, really I'm fucked up like this, like we all are, and I want to be
Mhm.
fucked up. Like I want to have a good time. Like I want to go around and just cuss everywhere, or just be my own human being, because that's what's way more important than trying to be this zipped up version of what somebody thinks your occupation is.
Honestly, you hit it on the head because I find that things are changing. Like it's 2025. There are a lot of new views on what it is to exist in the world. There's multifacets. Like we can focus on different hats that we can wear. So starting almost 10 years ago and being like, oh, I have to be uber professional. I have to like even like I was saying in another conversation, just how I would like talk about myself. Like this sounds so not like me. It's so like I'm copying what I think is like a professional sounding, and I'm like, I don't. That's not even who I am. Like I'm more like shoot the shit kind of vibes, and letting go of that has been very freeing for me. And
Yeah.
even this format going into conversation where I'm like, I'm not. No one knows what they're doing, point blank period. We're all figuring it out, and I think that once we allow ourselves to like chill the fuck out, it's very freeing to like, okay, I can run a design business, but I can also be the idiot that makes stupid dad jokes and yada yada.
But
So
people would even hire you because of that as a
yes, I
graphic
know.
designer. Like people don't hire me as the coach just because I'm going to tell them fluffy words. Like most of my corporate clients, they hire me because I'm literally not going to tell them a lie,
Yeah.
and I'm going to shoot it with them straight.
And that's the thing that I like about you because, and not to bring back, but to bring back the whole Gemini thing, like I love the duality where you have, because obviously we met on vacation, but post that, seeing your socials and getting to know you through how you market yourself online. I love the duality where knowing you as a person, you like to have fun, you could joke around, you have this effervescence to you, like there's an energy to you, but at the same time, there's the other half which is you're about spirituality and being connected and being grounded. So I like that there's two sides of you because I feel the same where I can be very like I meditate regularly. I am always like searching for how to be a better person, how to calm myself and be able to go through life a little bit calm in a much easier way than I have in the past. But
Mm-hmm.
also, I'm a big goofball, and I like to have fun and I like to go out and enjoy and just be silly and not take life too seriously while also taking life too seriously. So I guess my question is in that duality that you bring as just the human, not with any labels or titles, how do you bring that into your coaching? Like, is that something that is like at the forefront?
I think of it less. Maybe this is the right analogy. We'll see if it lands. If you're taking the Gemini analogy, right?
Hmm.
You got the duality of whatever this is over here, whatever this is over here. Imagine that the actual playtime is right here. It's in the middle,
Yeah.
right? So the pendulum's just swinging, and where do you want to land, and where do you want to like put energy into it? You can put it over here, you can put it over there. It doesn't matter. It's just like I want what the client wants
Hmm.
for them. Like, well, I'll actually rephrase that. I want the clients to get the success and the outcome that they want. I don't want it for them because I can't. Like, that's actually where coaching is the most powerful. Is like I'm removed from it. I just am helping them get to where they want to go.
Hmm.
But I want to have fun doing it. Like
Yeah.
if we're talking about really heavy things, like maybe someone's processing and working through some grief, or maybe someone's building their company and they're a CEO and they really want to elevate their team leads or their C-suite collective that they have. Like I want to have fun doing it, because if life is not fun,
Yeah.
like what are we doing? Like I don't want to walk around with a stick up my butt and like needing to look and be a specific thing and be the professional that you were talking about earlier that really
Hmm.
resonated with me. Is like I gotta show up professionally.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I am someone who's been called to HR more times than I would care to admit.
Girls.
I'm not kidding.
Same.
And it was traumatizing,
So,
mostly because it was falsely accused for a lot of
uh,
reasons.
okay.
But regardless, is like you do have to be careful in a way.
Yeah.
But also, I if someone asked me about those instances in my life, I'm like, oh, would you regret what happened or what you did? I'm like, no.
No, because it
Like I
got
was
you
being
to today.
100% authentic. Like that was what actually got me through those moments. Is if you could go back, would you have changed anything? And I was like, no, I was
No.
acting in complete integrity of who I was.
Yeah.
Were there consequences? Yeah.
But
But
you
I was
learn.
still being in integrity with who I was. And to me, that's what makes life fun, is if you're actually who you say you want to be and are,
Hmm.
make the mistakes.
Post university, I had basically one job where I
To
worked at
be
an
gay.
agency,
Okay.
and I rocked the out of that job.
And still are, honey.
Yeah, I will say I definitely have like toned down a little bit as I'm getting older. I'm like I also not living in a huge city. I feel like I'm less around gayness, so I'm more like diluted.
Honey, you live with your partner. You're around gayness all the time.
But I mean, like
I know you do.
having lived in Toronto, like a very different
Mm.
energy. But but no, I so post school I worked for an agency in Toronto, and I was working as the studio lead for the creative department. And every year when I had my reviews, it was always the same feedback. You're doing great. You're making us money. You're bringing in new clients. Like we're landing new business. Like you work hard. You put in the effort. Like nothing about performance.
Hmm.
But the one bit of feedback that I got was
I'm
always
waiting on
around
pins and needles.
was always around my attitude, because I was not diplomatic in my delivery and how I interacted with people, because I felt so much
Mm.
pressure from, because I was like the only designer for about a year and a half before I was like, I need additional help. And so and working for a group of 50 people, like with 4 departments, it was hectic. And so I was
Yeah,
snippy. People would be like coming in, are you busy? I'm like, can you stop what you're doing and help me with my project? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I would be so, and I literally, to the point where they were like, you're starting to scare some of the girls. Because I'd be like, and I didn't have an office, so I was like out in a cubicle, like
oh
out.
wow.
So it was, I was, I started, I was like 20 something, like, but I look back and I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that I was that person, because now my version of that is I just set boundaries that are
Totally.
healthy, right?
It makes me laugh when you were talking about can I bother you or whatever. We were just watching Abbott Elementary. This is a total
I
side
love
note.
that show. I
And
love that show.
someone walked into Ava's office and they were like, I don't mean to bother you. And she was like, then don't. I was like, oh,
She is one of the best written characters on television, period. Like
100%.
her delivery, the writing and the acting is
Oh,
phenomenal.
stellar. I mean, the whole ensemble cast. It's
It's
like
so good.
every episode is a knockout of the park.
It's so funny.
It's amazing.
Although I will say the It's Always Sunny crossover was my least favorite. That made They were trying to cram in. It didn't work. I don't know, not for me.
So the interesting part about that is I never watched Always Sunny. It's
Me
still
neither.
on, actually. It's still going. And
That I.
Stuart watches it. He actually started rewatching it because he watched it from the beginning,
Mhm.
and he's like, "You should watch it with me." And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "All the characters are like unforgiving, and they're just all complete assholes." I was like, "You're really selling me on watching this show. Like, it sounds like a really great show." All
Mhm.
that to be said, Caitlin Olsen. I'm pretty sure her name is Caitlin.
The girl,
Caitlin.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I don't think Olsen's her last name. Maybe it is. I love her because of the Mick, because of there's another show where
Hacks.
she's Hacks. She's also on another one with two siblings, I think, like the Odd Couple or like the Only Two or Only
Mhm.
Us. And then she's also on High Potential,
Is that the
which
new
is
one, right? With
it's
she's the lead.
so good. Have you watched it?
No, I've seen it. Like,
Oh my gosh,
I have to
Gio,
check it out.
it's funny, it's witty, it's like true crimey. So like you're solving cases, and it's really
Hmm.
nice. And the men aren't hard to look at. So
Love
sign me
it.
up. Anyway, so that's a detour, but yeah, Abbott's great. She's great. I'm a big stan for her. Stan is
So
the thing that
funny.
kids are saying now with no D. You could just stand for something, but no, we should stand for it
Or
now.
I'm a fan. Like,
Or I
I
love
think
it.
Stan, I heard, is stalker fan, or I could be wrong.
Oh.
It's like a stalker fan. Like you are beyond just a fan. But I
Oh,
could.
okay. Then I just love her. I don't need
I'm
to
not.
like be on. I'm not a stalker. That's the last thing I need. Energy coaching. He's
Yes.
corporate executive coach. However, he stalks Kaylin Olson. Last thing I need on my hit list. That's not
Okay,
on my bingo card for 39.
I love it. It's so crazy. Like 35 happened, and I'm like, it's barreling forward. It's so crazy.
You know,
Um,
39 actually feels like less intimidating than 35.
It's not even about intimidation or like fear. It's more like just the time
Speed.
is
Yeah.
it's yeah, like I'm enjoying getting older. I honestly I don't even look back at my 20s in any way other than I learned and I was crazy and I'm going to move forward. That's literally it.
The one awareness that, like, if you were like, I've coached people around like getting older and age and like who they are as they get older, especially like empty nesters or like moms.
Mhm.
I heard this reframe and I took it from somebody, I forget who it was, but I call them bird launchers. Like, rather than being an empty nester, you just launch your birds. I love
Mhm.
that. Is when you think about the capacity or the length of time that you're going to be alive from then on is generally shorter than what you've already been on the planet.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was an interesting perspective. And I think about that. Okay, if the average age is 80, it's totally made up. I'm gonna be 39. I'm halfway there. Like, what do I want to do the second half of my life?
I know.
But it actually empowers me. It doesn't make me scared. It's more like, okay, what do I want to do with it? Like, who do I want to be? Where do I want to go? Who are the people that I want around me while I do it? That has gotten smaller as I've gotten older, and on purpose.
1,000%. So going back to what you said at the beginning, where you talked about this year being about simplicity, to me, and I'm repeating myself because I've talked about this to a lot of people in my life. My theme for 2025 is alignment. I
Mm.
want to feel aligned in all areas of my life,
Aligned, how
and
so?
whether it's the people that I give my energy to, the clients that I work with, the projects I'm working on, the social events that I'm going to. I want to make sure that they feel good for me and who I'm at and where I see myself going. I
Yeah.
want to make sure that I am just feeling connected in a
Mm.
way that is going to help me feel like I'm propelling forward and not like, oh, I'm rushing forward or I'm trying to achieve necessarily. But I feel like when I'm in a good flow, my friend Sarah always says like flow state, that's
Mm-hmm.
when shit happens in a real way. And so that's where I'm at. Cause I'm like, I have felt like last year was very much like a shedding for me. Like, when it's like that, like you're moving into a new era.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a little bit like uncomfortable because you're like, I'm kind of, I really am no longer a young person, like a true, like a young 20 something, right? Like I have to shed these thoughts of myself. And so that has been, it's been good, but like I definitely feel like it's been, looking at it from like a bird's eye view. I'm like, oh, right. This
Yeah.
is happening.
You should read The Art of Impossible. It's by Stephen Kotler.
Hmm.
It's all about flow. In fact, he has a whole institute on like why that is like the highest frequency of being in flow and like teaching people how to be there. It's called The Art of Impossible by Stephen Kotler. If you're really into the flow
Yeah.
concept,
No, I'll
because
check it
that's
out.
all it is. And when you talk about, you didn't say the word transition. You said shedding, like, and you're in an uncomfortable place.
Hmm.
If you think about it, you hear the phrase that the only thing that's constant in life is change.
Hmm.
Really, we're always in transition. Like,
Yeah.
even when you get to the goal that you created, even when you got the job that you wanted, even when you landed the marriage that you want to be in,
Hmm.
like, there's still a transition of like, oh, now we're building our marriage, or now
Hmm.
we're at the job. Like, there's still a transition. You're always in constant transition.
I know.
That's why you have to. I say you have to. I often want to be a motivational speaker too sometimes. So if that starts to come out, just like tell me to shut the fuck
I could see that for you, honestly.
up. But I'm like, that's why you have to know who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that like you can't change it. I was just coaching people around values this morning. It's like identifying the values that you have. Like simplicity might be one for me. Yours might be what'd you say? Uh,
Alignment.
Alignment. Um, that is something that is like your North Star. It's your guiding light. It's a principle that you live by to help you make decisions from. People need to know what their values are. Otherwise,
Hmm.
they're going to be chosen for you.
No.
Because that's where, and this is actually transitioning to like social media stuff. I
Hmm.
had a really big block on putting anything on social media because I was really concerned about people like backlashing or saying they're
Hmm.
disagreeing with me. But if you don't know who you are, you can't have a point of view. And
100%.
having a point of view is one of the most interesting things about humanity.
The fear of having an opinion. The world we live in is so crazy. Like, let's be honest. It's so volatile in the way that we treat each other over things that really aren't important. Like, there's obviously, like we talked about, like real issues that we need
Yeah,
to be galvanized against or
love that word.
towards. And yet, why are we're literally like children in the sandbox fighting with each other over the use of the word, like of this word or whatever. And I'm like, this is why I worry that we won't get to where we want to go, because we're so disorganized as a
I think
collective.
that I think that there is an answer, and here's where I think the answer will lie, is in our relationship to social media and artificial intelligence.
Mm.
That's our relationship to it. Like, what is it? What does it mean for us? What do we want it to mean for us? What do we want it to do for us? Right now, social media is running us.
Oh yeah.
You see something, I believe it. We have to remember, and I'll tie it into breath work. Like, breath work really is remembering. You're remembering who you are by using your breath to connect your mind and your body. We have to remember that we are the person first, not the external resource of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about any clip that you've seen. It's a clip of something much larger. Like, half of these Senate hearings, none of us ever watched any of this.
No.
And now we're suddenly seeing clips of like one person saying one thing, one person saying the other thing, and that's it. And therefore it becomes the truth.
Yeah.
We have to get curious. And in order to get curious, we have to be mindful. And if we're not mindful, someone else is running our mind.
Everybody falls into that though. I feel like people on the left, and I hate the left right thing, because there's it's
It's our
so much.
fault. We built
It,
it.
well, we did not build it.
Well, sorry, Canadians.
We no. I'm not saying Canadians. I'm saying we as
Oh,
humans, like the general population. Like, we have not
yeah.
created the system that we live in. Like, there are. It's been. We've been born into a system,
Sure.
and I feel like people on either side, they're like, well, you're wrong, no, they're wrong, no, this. And I'm like, there's so much gray area that people don't want to look at, because
But that's
it's
so much more interesting.
we are being what's the word, we're being pitted against each other.
So that's exactly my point. So with the being pitted up against each other, that means that someone has to win.
Yeah,
And aren't we all on the same team?
I know. That's how I look at it. To me, I'm like, we're all the same thing. Like, we all come from the same place. We go back to the same place, or to the next thing. I don't know what that is. No one
And
really knows. But
that's kind of the basis of how I like to coach people
hmm,
is learn who you are so that you can play on the team together.
yeah,
Otherwise, you're fighting for things that maybe don't even matter to you or
hmm,
uh, that aren't important because you just have this deep desire to win. But what are you winning at? Like, what is the game you're actually playing if you don't know who you are? When I coach, I often use the phrase like being your own best friend. Like, it goes to how do you want to talk to yourself? Like, how do you want to treat yourself? Like, if you had a best friend
hmm.
and you would do anything for them, like some people are like, yeah, I jump off a bridge for my best friend. But then you're at home sick, can't move out of bed, and you don't want to ask for help because you feel like a burden. Ask for help. Like, you would do it for your best friend. Like, hey, if the worst that can happen is they'll say no.
Yeah.
But if you are consistently becoming and in tune or attuned to being your best friend, you'll make a lot of different choices that are better for everyone, even though there's always consequences.
When your clients come to you, like, let's say, I was to sit with you and say, I want to hire you as like an executive coach. I'm needing a bit of direction. Generally, what's the initial conversation like, and also, what's the variety of people, who are these people that you're working with?
Yeah, I call them vision calls. We get really clear on what's the vision of our work together. Because if we don't have any idea where we're going, we can't assess where we are and look at the gap between the two.
Hmm.
So money is just an easy example. Let's say
Yeah.
you have $1,000 and you're like, I want to make $50,000 this year. Okay, well now we know you want 50, you have 1,000. What do we need to do to get you there? That's an easy way to do it.
Hmm.
Now, not everything is as tactile as that. Sometimes it's I want to become a better speaker. Well, how do we know? We got to figure that out together. Or I want to get more confidence. Okay, how do we know that you're going to be more confident in the next 6 months? So we build the skills and tools along the way together. We co-create that. I'm not the expert in everything that I coach on, and that's the great thing about coaching is you don't have to be.
Hmm.
Now, I do blur the line sometimes with coaching and consultant because they're asking me specific questions, but coaching specifically is a co-design relationship to help you get from A to B, and we build how that looks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sense?
Yeah.
When it comes to the style of person that comes to me, it's a lot of people are drawn by my energy, and they've also seen sort of the transitions or the growth that I've made, so that there's some sort of connection there, whether it be physically or emotionally. Like I'm a very highly intelligent, emotional person. Like my emotional intelligence is high,
Hmm.
so they'll see that and they're attracted to that. Or I just insert myself and I'm like, hey, I actually know how to communicate.
Yeah.
I know how to help you communicate better with your team, with your organization, but it all starts with you. So let's actually look at you. And I actually have to get their buy-in at first because their
Hmm.
goal is to have a better high performance team or organization. Like, all right, how do you fit into that team? What's your role? Who are you inside of it? What responsibility do you have for how it's currently going? Because everything becomes this external thing, but really, it all starts with you.
Hmm. But do you ever find that if once you start to pose the questions or get a bit deeper, that there's maybe resistance?
100%. I've
Yeah.
fired clients because of it.
Because they're just not like, they come to you and they're like, okay, what's the point?
In order to be coached, you have to be willing.
Hmm.
And you can say you're willing, but your actions aren't.
I mean, I can only speak about my own life because that's all I know. It's my reality.
Yeah.
But it's so many times where we say, I'm trying to achieve this thing. I want to do this. I want to, set a new goal for myself when it comes to what, like personally, professionally, etc. But the follow through does not match. And so like you never achieve it because you're not actually doing the thing that you said you want to do.
Totally. And sometimes the magic sauce there or the magic wand to use is okay, let's actually name everything that's going to get in your way. Let's
Hmm.
just name it. So then there are no surprises. If we already know, you're like, I want to be a morning person and work out every morning. And for the last 6 years, you've gotten up at 9 a.m.
Hmm.
That's going to be really challenging to suddenly wake up at 6 and go to the gym,
Hmm.
just by the nature of what your goal is.
Hmm.
So there's often a conversation around attachment to how fast it happens. We want things to be instant. It's a
Hmm.
social media context, right? So you have to get really curious. Like, what am I actually willing to do? What would be in alignment with how fast I want to go? Okay, great. Once a week, I'm going to wake up at 6. Just wake up.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't even say go to the gym. Just
Little
wake up.
steps.
You got to take the right steps. But if we're coaching, let's say we're coaching for 3 months and your goal was to be a morning person to go to the gym and not one morning have you woken up, then I would just get curious and be like, it sounds like that maybe isn't what you want. So
Yeah.
what are some other options? And that's actually okay.
Hmm.
But people are not always okay with it being okay because then they're like, what's wrong with me? Like, nothing's wrong with you. You just don't want to be a morning person. That's okay.
Hmm. The mornings are, that's when I can like really, I feel like more focused, if that makes
Well,
sense.
everyone works differently. Like something that I've learned is there's a weird time of day that doesn't make any sense, and I don't know why. But from like 4:45 to 6:15 p.m. So like the time when everyone kind of wants to leave work, I'm like, let's go.
Mm.
It's like something about me is like, let's be really productive. But between 1:30 and 3, fuck me. Like I am just a sloth. I get tired. I don't want to do anything. So I stopped fighting it. I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
sometimes I take a nap then. Like, of course, I have a lot of ability, agility, and privilege too that I work from home and as an entrepreneur, like I can if I want. Or I'll just do some laundry, sort of be active but not be working because my
Hmm.
brain doesn't want to work.
Yeah.
But at 6 a.m. when I get up in the morning, I can read, I get my stuff done, I can get through emails. Like, that's super productive for me.
Hmm.
It's just that one time doesn't work. So I stopped fighting it. You have to find out what works for you. Don't do something because you think it's going to be better for you. Find out what just works for you and lean into it.
And but this is a thing though, not a lot of people allow themselves the space to explore that or even think about it because you're working a 9 to 5 where you're having to leave the house, you have to work at an office, etc. Like you don't necessarily have that wiggle room for the daytime, right? So
Hmm.
what does that look like? And actually putting in the effort to taking the time to dissect what are my days like, how am I in the mornings, what am I actually like at night, versus just going on autopilot, because it's almost easier, which in the end it
It
really isn't.
is.
It isn't though, because then 10, 20 years down the road you've been doing the same thing and you're miserable.
Learning how to have your own autonomy is actually a skill.
It is 100%.
And, someone told me once, and the extent of how I truly believe this kind of ebbs and flows a little bit, but for the first 18 years, at least in America, for the first 18 years generally, depending on how you grew up,
Hmm.
it's all decided for you.
Hmm.
You don't choose your school, you don't choose what time you wake up, you're being parented, like it's all chosen for you. So why suddenly you're at 18, you get to go to college, do you just magically be like, yeah, I get to make all my choices and that this is all my life?
Yeah.
Like it makes a lot of sense that we have to break up those beliefs, but you have to notice that you have the beliefs first. That's why when I say it all starts with you, you have to assess who you are, what you want, your desires, your goals, your dreams, all those things for yourself first. Otherwise, you're still on the path of what was handed to you. And that's not bad. It's not wrong. It just is.
I mean, once again, it's the system we're born into, right? We don't choose how we live. It's programmed into us. So for anybody who, because like we all work at different paces, but like if somebody was to say, I'm having a hard time doing what you just described, what would be something that you would suggest, like try this to maybe snap out of it?
Everyone's going to hate me for this because I've gotten so much pushback on this. Just start writing, just start journaling. Write about,
I don't think that's bad at all.
I don't think it's bad. I would just say, I have a lot of people that come to me like, I just don't like journaling. I'm like, okay, then do voice to text.
Mm,
Like talk out loud in your car, go on a walk and just notice your thoughts. Like get things moving as you talk to yourself. Like the reason I like writing things out is there's a difference between how I feel something when it's here and then when I'm actually looking at it like this. Like, how does this make me feel when
hmm.
I'm writing it? If you think I'm a failure in your head, you might spiral. But if you read that you wrote, I'm a failure, be like, well, that's just not true.
Hmm.
It gets it physically out of your body
Yeah.
onto something so you can actually reflect on it. It's just like looking in the mirror. If you never looked in the mirror, would you really know what you look like? No. But if you look in the mirror, you can say, oh, my hairline is there. Oh, my eyebrows are doing this. You can reflect on it and see, is this the way that I want it or not?
I find that is very helpful when it comes to journaling. 2024 was the first time I actually dedicated time to it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I couldn't get out of my own head, it was incessant. And so being able to sit down, or not being able to, but just forcing myself, just anything that comes to mind. And some of it's gibberish, some of it's, long form essay basically
Sometimes
of
I do
like,
bullet points
yeah,
or just one sentence.
I feel great today.
That's the first thing I would recommend. The second thing I'd recommend is just getting out in the community and doing something that's a little bit not your normal routine.
Yeah.
Like last night, I went to a contact improv dance class. It was 2.5 hours. I'm
Hmm.
incredibly sore today. But the really interesting piece that I left with was there was mirrors along the whole wall. And I've probably looked in the mirror like 5% of the time.
Hmm. Because you're in
Because
it, you're present.
I was in it, I was present, and it's contact. You're with people. You're not actually, you're dancing within yourself with
Hmm.
other people.
Hmm.
But it's a little bit out of my area of comfort just because I hadn't danced in a while. And it wasn't about the dancing. It was about the community. It was about the contact. It was about the emotional connection you're having with humans. And what I loved about it is there was a lot of diversity there, like which is
Hmm.
really really cool. because you're seeing things that are just different than my norm. Like when I go to Equinox, it's a very specific clientele often.
Mhm.
When
Yep.
I go to the other studios that I teach, it's very specific. Even with my friend group, you get into this jive of this normalcy. Pulling yourself out of that, it forces you to either start asking yourself the questions or at least recognize there are questions to be asked.
Mhm.
That can just be the catalyst for just, oh, am I uncomfortable? Do I
Yeah.
like this? Is this fun? Is this not fun? It just starts to get curious. Like that's one value I would hope that everyone has in their whole life at some point that has a focus is curiosity with no judgment.
One thing I wanted to ask you, so my whole work platform, et cetera, is around branding. So when it comes to, because with organizations or companies, that's a specific approach, right? We're branding a company, whereas
Mm-hmm.
you have a personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, I want to talk a little bit about your name, the name, which to me, genius. I love it. Can you just talk a little bit about obviously how you landed on it and go from
Yeah.
there?
Well, first off, I can't take credit for it because it's not me. I didn't create this, and in fact, I think it was my friend Marianne, but I could totally be off on that. So if you're out there and you're listening and it was you, please message me and tell me that it was you.
Mhm.
Um, when I was teaching cycling, which I retired last year, this was I was there for 7.5 years. I've been out for 6. So it's like almost 12 years ago or 13 years ago. When I first started, cycling was like huge, but it was before Peloton. So it was kind of like you went to a studio and you still do, but like this was the big time. It was Soul Cycle and it was Flywheel. It was kind of the two major groups.
Mhm.
And I was teaching for Flywheel, and they had a social media like handle or hashtag contest for all the instructors. And something that people have always shared with me is like, oh, you have really great energy. Like, thanks for your energy today. Or like during classes, they'd be like, gosh, you just have so much energy. I can't believe it. And they would feed off of it in however it worked for them. Well, someone said my last name with energy, so Renergy.
Mhm.
And I made that the hashtag for that competition, and it has stuck ever
Yeah.
since. It sort of took me a little bit to get accustomed to because when I say it out loud, like some people call me that. They're like, "Oh, hey, Renergy,"
Mm.
and in my brain, I'm like, it's authentic, but it's also like it doesn't sound natural for me. Um, but at the end of the day, branding isn't always about me. It's not about you, right? It's actually just what works for the company.
Mhm.
And when I think about personal branding for me, like I still think that I've got great energy and I have a feeling like even someone said it today. I had an event at North Park Mall and they were like, oh, you just have really great energy. I can see you like doing retreats. I was like,
I
yeah,
do.
me too. Like I actually do them. Thanks.
Mhm.
So I'm like really leaning into it. I'm actually going to get some hats made with energy on the front
I love it.
uh, because I want to, it's kind of like a movement,
Mhm.
right? I want people to build their own communities with the energy that they can cultivate. And if I get to be a small piece of that, like that is super meaningful to me. But that's kind of how it came. It was just a hashtag.
I love it. So when we first followed each other on Instagram, at first I was reading it re-energy,
Totally.
and I was like, "Oh, re-energy, that makes sense." But then I was, "Oh, hit Renner, Thomas Renner, Renergy." Like I was like, and as somebody who works in this
You're
world, I'm
like,
like,
brilliant.
Jesus, I love it. Like, and honestly, own the fact that people call you that, because
Totally.
to me, like, I had somebody come up to me at an event and was like, "Oh, hey, you're geographic." I'm like, I'm obsessed with that.
Yes.
Like, and not in a way that's like nose in the air. It's like I just love that it's catching on. Like people are recognizing me for that reason. And to me, the job is done, you know?
I
So
mean,
I
honestly,
kudos
both
to
of
you.
ours are great.
I love it. I'm obsessed. I love it.
Pretty soon to be National Geographic.
Honestly, we'll see.
International Geographic.
I need one client. I just need to get one. I'm putting it out there. I need one client
One
to make me international.
that's and if everyone had that belief for any goal they had, just one.
Hmm.
That's all we need to
Yeah,
build a
just the one.
momentum.
I love it. So we're nearing the end. And at the end of every episode, I've been asking everyone I'm talking to,
Is this a surprise to me, or do I know what the question is?
you don't know the question.
Oh, great. Okay.
So If you were to say one thing that is the most on brand thing you've ever done, what would it be?
The most on brand thing that I've ever done, like,
Personal, professional, it could be whatever you want.
oh my gosh, the most on brand thing I've ever done. I just love intimate conversations.
Hmm.
Like, I love being intimate with people in
Hmm.
so many different ways. Like, that
Hmm.
to me is memorable and it's enjoyable. It's also calming. Um, but when I think about bigger things, it's like I'm traveling internationally more than I ever have this year, and I can't wait because it does put me out of my comfort zone.
Hmm.
Uh, it's like going to Costa Rica.
You're
Like,
going?
no, I've already been. Like,
Mm.
that's actually the first international place I ever went, and it was life changing for me because I wasn't necessarily traveling alone, but I kind of was traveling by myself, and it forced me to ask a lot of questions. It got out of my comfort zone. Um, Obviously, I don't speak a lot of Portuguese or Spanish, but like I could speak a little bit, so it was sort of fun to sort of explore that. And not being somewhere where everything is familiar to you actually supports your differentiation of perspective
Hmm.
on life. Everyone should have to be able to travel at some point in their life, and I recognize how privileged that can and does sound. But if you don't, you are trapped in your own bubble, and
Oh
therefore you
yeah.
don't get to experience that. And I think that Renergy really is the experience of different things that aren't always what your normal is. That's how you generate more energy,
Yeah.
is to be in different spaces.
I love it. So be what's on brand for you is
I
being outside of your comfort zone.
mean, which is interesting because someone recently said, and it just reminded me that I need to like address this is if someone followed you for 24 hours, what would they
Mhm.
see as really important to you?
Are you
And
asking or are you just saying?
no, that's like the question.
Uh-huh.
And well, I do want the answer, but yes. Um, and if you looked at that outside of the travel that I do, it does look really familiar. I work a lot. I'm on calls often. I'm in my office. I'm going to the gym. I go to Starbucks to get my coffee every single day. Those are things that are important to me. But if you looked at the things that like on vacation or on the weekends, like I try to allow more space for spontaneity if I can, or like choosing in the moment what I really want to be doing rather than having everything scheduled.
Hmm.
And or if I schedule that, like do something fun out of the
Yeah.
ordinary that I wouldn't normally do, like that contact improv dance class.
I love
So
it.
I'll own out of my comfort zone. I'll own that.
I love it. So if anyone wanted to reach out to you to just talk about, potentially working with you, how could they do that? Where could they find you?
Yeah, same handle versus and in website, renergycoaching.com and Renergy Coaching on Instagram. My first and last name, of course, is Thomas Renner. They can find me on LinkedIn for any corporate organizational work that they're looking to have. I do workshops. I do like in-house coaching. Like you can hire me for like your entire leadership team, or you can just hire me for like a one-day workshop. But that's where you can find me: LinkedIn, Instagram, and my website.
Even you can hire him for a 1 hour somatic breath workshop,
Absolutely.
one on one
100%.
over Zoom.
One on one over Zoom. That's what I love about breath work is you don't have to be in person. And being in person is super amazing too.
It was great. We live across the continent, and you were able to help me relax a little bit, so it was nice.
That's wild. I love that. And it's changed so much since we'll have to do it again.
Absolutely. And to anyone who's looking to reach out to me, you can follow the podcast at Graphic Content Pod on Instagram. We're on YouTube as well as TikTok. If you have any questions about me as a designer, you want to get in touch with me about creative, you can contact me at geographic.com on my website. I would love it if you would subscribe, leave a comment, etc. I'm new to the podcasting world, so any help would be great. And thank you all for listening. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.